I love the sound of birdsong, and now is a great time to make your garden into a place they can really enjoy. Here are 4 ways of making your garden more bird-friendly. Now, at this time of year, in autumn, although it's not nesting time in terms of rearing young, it's a very good time to give them some form of shelter to allow them to roost, to shelter at night, to go to sleep. And the easiest way to do that is to put up a good, solidly built nest box like this. Will provide a great roosting site for birds like blue tits and wrens. Do you know, there's a world record, I think, for wrens in a nest box like this. Somebody once had 60 wrens in a single nest box, all snuggled together to keep warm in the winter. And then come the spring, they'll all clear out and the nest builders will come in. Blue tits will come in a box with a hole like this. Get one that's soundly built. This one's even got a bespoke roof of slate. There's posh for you. Now, a lot of people worry about where they should put a nest box. There are a couple of things worth bearing in mind. One, make sure it's out of the reach of cats. Cats and nestlings do not go together, so above head height generally. And the other is to put it in a sheltered spot. If the prevailing wind in your area is from the southwest, don't let it face southwest or the wind will blow straight in. I've got a perfect spot, I think, right here on the end of my shed. Now you could say, but the doors underneath, won't you disturb them? Well, during the winter in particular, when they're in there for roosting, I don't go in and out of it very much. And then at nesting time, I'm very careful and it never seems to bother them. I've made a start on the hole. So nice not to have to use an electric drill. It's quiet. I can hear the birds singing and saying, "Oh, look at that." That'll hold it. On the back of this box there's one of these slots where the screw goes in and then that sits down onto it. Wish me luck. There we are. Perfectly safe. An eagle could land on that and it wouldn't fall off. And come the spring, if I don't go in and out too much, I can sit here quietly and still, and they'll get used to me, and I'll be able to watch them coming in and out. I even have a friend who can get a robin to come and eat off his hand. Took quite a bit of patience, but it's a good thing to make yourself do. Sit and watch. You really can make a difference to the livelihood of your birds by hanging feeders up in autumn and winter. Because of the diminishing supplies of natural food, anything you can do to improve the diet of birds in winter is really worthwhile. Robins, and blue tits in particular, love balls of fat or lard that you can get in a special container. The classic feeder for garden birds, of course, is the bird table. The problem is that grey squirrels come and predate the stuff before the birds can get it. So I cut 4 pieces of sturdy wire mesh. 3 of them are fixed, but one has these movable clips that allow me to put the feed in and then put it back when I've done so. Another way to encourage birds to come to your garden is to plant things that they will find useful, particularly in terms of food. At this time of year, berried plants give them lots of sustenance. The beauty berry, Callicarpa, it looks artificial. It's purple, which is not a natural colour for berries in the garden. Robins and sparrows love it. It makes a tallish shrub. Stick it at the back of a border where it'll be background for most of the year, but then come autumn, look what it does and really draws your eye. The Pyraccantha, the firethorn, great for hedging and keeping livestock out, or for training up the sides of a building or a shed. At this time of year, that creamy blossom that came in spring is followed by berries that may be either red, orange or yellow. This is a glorious orange form and again hugely attractive. Don't be cross with birds for nicking your berries. That's half the reason why we plant them, really. There are lots of them on Cotoneasters, Shrubs like this that may be stocky and creeping, or much taller shrubs, again for the back of a border. But this one has got lots of bite-sized berries for smaller birds, and they'll offer great sustenance. So too will roses, not your hybrid teas and floribundas, but the ones that produce hips. These bright red fruits here are loved by birds when they start to go soft. Blackbirds really tuck into them, as they do with hawthorn berries, haws, a rounder berry, but really deep crimson, wonderful on the plant, but also wonderful attractants for birds. As well as food, birds will appreciate shelter, which is where thorny shrubs like Berberis, which also produces fruits, come into play. A double whammy comes from the holly. It forms a thicket of thorny leaves which helps to repel predators, but it also, in the female forms, provides berries, so it gives food as well as shelter. Trees not only bring height to a garden, but they also provide nesting sites and feeding stations for birds. Cherries flower earlier in the year, in summer, and as anybody who's grown a cherry tree knows, birds love the fruits. The secret is to get there before they do. I know, it's a pain, isn't it? But we can let them have a good go at crab apples, like golden hornet, a gloriously decorative tree, not too big for a modest-sized garden. Again, you can use the berries yourself for crabapple jelly. My mum used to do it, hanging at the top of the cellar steps. Do not touch that muslin bag because you'll make it grow cloudy. So if you want to make crabapple jelly, do it quickly and leave the rest for the birds, as these fruits get softer and softer, so the birds will come in and enjoy them. So shelter and food, very important. But birds get thirsty too. Fresh water is as vital to birds in the garden as fresh food, and the reason you need to keep replacing it quite regularly is, as well as drinking it, they like to bathe in it. So that dual purpose thing means it gets mucky quicker. The easiest thing to do is to make a bird bath. All you need is a flower pot like this one and a saucer like this one, and you stick that onto that and put water in it. The way to stick it is with this stuff, silicone. Run it around the edge, the rim of the base of the pot. You can be generous with this because it'll help cushion it when you lower the bath itself, the saucer, into place. Now I've got to get this central. The easiest way to do this, of course, to make sure it's central, is to do it the other way round. If I'd have put that on the top, I'd have had to fiddle it. I can see here where the centre is because it's got this ring. And then in it goes like that. It is now central, and I can turn it up the right way, knowing that I don't have to fiddle with where it's sitting. And then a few pebbles for the tiny birds so they can perch and drink. Then fill it up. You can do it right the way, almost up to the rim. When they come and bathe, they'll splash it out anyway. And you can see it's a simple job. Every day when it starts to look a bit mucky, just tip it out, put the pebbles back and fill it up again. So there we are, a flower pot and a saucer. The fraction of a price of a manufactured bird bath. I'm rather pleased with that. I think it looks rather splendid. You know, at the end of the day, you feel really quite chuffed with yourself that you've done your bit for the bird life right the way through the winter. If you're looking for gardening tips like this, why not subscribe to my channel? You'll find ways of improving your garden, whatever its size, every week.